This is Swiss and Chips, your British guide to Switzerland. Hello and welcome to Swiss and Chips. I'm Jo.
And I'm Simon, still alive!
Yes, it's been a little while since we made a podcast the last time.
Yes.
True.
Only like 2 months or so.
Yeah.
1.5 maybe.
What's that between friends, huh?
Well, yeah, true. So I hope some of you are still there. At least we are. So,
They are.
yes.
So, the
Otherwise you can't hear it now. Right.
Exactly.
Okay.
Does a podcast still happen if no one listens?
Yeah.
It does.
It does. Yeah.
Anyway, back to the point. And we have got a very exciting episode today because it's finally time for part 2 in our mini-series of How to Become Swiss. Yes, I've finally been here for 10 years and I can finally actually apply.
Yeah, that meant you can apply to become Swiss. So how did you get the ball rolling? That's what we're going to talk about today.
It certainly is.
And seeing as you have to talk the whole time because you are applying, I can eat my ice cream.
No, you can't. Just because you're already Swiss, put that away. I mean it. We're cutting
Go
that
on.
out.
How did you get the ball rolling?
So, first of all, what normally happens is you go onto the website of your local Gemeinde, because when you're applying to become Swiss, you have to apply at 3 levels. The national level, the cantonal level, and the Gemeinde level, which is the municipality. So I'm in the city of Bern, which means I went to their website, checked I filled all the conditions, of which there are many. You should check for the place where you live because they differ ever so slightly.
Maybe you can give a short rundown what that is.
Well, for example, common to everybody, you have to have lived in Switzerland for 10 years.
Yeah.
And that changed, I think, a couple of years ago from 12.
Do you have
Now
to
it's
live,
10.
Oh, do you have to live in the same place for 10 years?
In the country for 10, and you have to live in the same Gemeinde or municipality for 2 years, in my case, the city of Bern.
I
But
see.
that is something that is slightly different in places. You also have to have a C permit nowadays, and there are certain other preconditions. There's a long list of them, but roughly speaking, you have to not have a criminal record, not have any debts, this kind of thing.
I see. So, and you said the first step was...
Give them a call.
And?
So you check on the website, do I fulfill these conditions? Yes. And then it says, come by or ring us up. So my 10-year anniversary fell smack bang in the middle of the coronavirus lockdown, which was wonderful. And so I called them up and had a very long conversation, which was wonderful, but somewhat unexpected. And they asked me lots and lots of questions about what I'm doing here and how long I've been here and are you married to a Swiss or have you ever been? Because things are slightly different in that case. And all sorts of things. We had a long discussion about my nationality and my name and these kind of things. The long and short of it was, because their office in Bern is very, very small, they can't ask people to pop in and see them behind their counter like they would normally. You have to make an appointment.
Yep. So on the call, if you do that, do people have to prepare beforehand anything?
No, not really. I mean, when you ring them up, I think you should be aware of what the conditions are to become Swiss because they will ask you about them.
Yeah, but I assume they just ask, are you here for 10 years and do you have a permit and stuff?
Exactly.
Just so you don't come for nothing.
Exactly, that's the point, yeah.
Yeah, it's not like an interview.
No.
It just feels a little bit like it.
Yes.
I see. So you passed the first
Woohoo!
phone interview questionnaire.
Exactly.
And you went to an appointment. How was it?
It was really nice, actually, and very informal. I think I was probably over-prepared for this because you're just going to get information and forms for the next step, basically. And they said, make sure you bring along your residence permit, which I did. And I had also been collecting various forms of documentation ever since we went to the information evening a year ago.
Yeah, where we made the first episode.
Exactly.
About how to become Swiss.
Yeah, so if you're thinking about becoming Swiss, listen to the first episode because that's where this story begins.
Yeah.
And I'd also recommend you go to an information evening, probably
that was quite interesting.
earlier rather than later, because we found out some things there that were useful to know.
In case you have to make like any language test or anything like that.
Exactly.
Which could take maybe a few months. So if you want to really like become Swiss at the first day possible, then maybe go half a year beforehand to this information.
Yeah,
day,
and get ready.
You're, like a bit prepared.
Yeah, because passing a language test could potentially take you a while. And by the way, in Bern, you have to have the level of B1 spoken German and A2 written. And you have to have a certificate for that.
Okay. But the test you do, is that, in which language is that?
The language test.
No, the test you do afterwards, like the Swiss stuff. You know,
the citizenship test.
Yes.
Right. So once you go to the appointment, they give you some forms and tell you what to do next. One of the things you have to do is take the citizenship test. And once they've checked that you fulfill all the conditions, they print out a document and stamp it, which means that you can take the citizenship test. You can't do it before you have that stamped document.
Ah, I see. But
so that's what I got there.
If that citizenship test, in which language is it? In one of the Swiss languages?
Yeah.
Okay. So you can't do it in English, for example?
No, you can't do it in English.
But if your English is like an A2 level...
Your English?
Your German level is an A2 level. I think that's quite difficult then, isn't it? Like the questions are quite difficult, quite complicated.
Definitely,
words,
yeah.
like, you know, political stuff and so on.
Yeah. I think.
But you think?
I think you'd struggle to do that
anyway, isn't it?
I think you'd struggle to pass the test if you have A2 written German.
Okay, so it's better to be. Yeah, obviously, it's always a bit better to be.
But I mean, it also depends probably how good are you at really sort of learning and memorizing stuff.
I see. So, but now, sorry, we jumped one step ahead. So at this appointment.
So at the appointment, she gave me first of all this document, which means that I can sign up to take the citizenship test. And she gave me quite a complicated flowchart with different paths and boxes highlighted on it. The long and short of it is you need to check if you're registered on the civil status register, I think is what it roughly translates as.
Zivilstandesamt.
Exactly, yeah. It turns out I'm not. So then the path really starts to unfold. I received an email which says that now I have to apply for a copy of my birth certificate. The original is no good, has to be a copy issued within the past 6 months.
Okay.
And if it's not in one of the national languages or English, I think you need to get it officially translated.
I see.
So that could take a while. So you apply for that, and once you have it, you need to send it with your passport to this place.
Okay, and then you're registered.
Pay a small fee, and then you're registered. That's just one of the things to do.
Yeah. And what other things do you have to do, or did you have to do, or are you then ready to get the stamp to make the test?
Yeah, so basically, now that I have the stamp to take the test already, I just need to sign up for it. You can also sign up for a course if you want to.
Yeah.
Or they give you a reading list which has 3 different books on it which you can buy.
Okay.
And basically you read them and do practice tests and prepare to take the actual test.
I see. And the course, how long does it take, and would you recommend to do it? Obviously you don't know yet because you didn't do the test yet, but do you think it's worth it?
I might eat my words in a few months. Well, I spoke to a few people who've gone through it already, and their opinion was that reading the books and doing practice tests should be sufficient.
Okay.
But I think that depends on perhaps how much you know about Switzerland already.
Yeah, obviously you've been a journalist for 10 years in Switzerland, so that should have helped, I hope. And also,
I hope as well.
Yeah, I think maybe, especially also for people who maybe don't speak the language, for example, that could also help if someone explains a bit more in detail.
Yes, exactly.
Or if they don't know like Swiss people, or not many, then maybe someone can explain a little bit more in depth what you have to specifically know and which kind of tests are coming and so on.
Yeah, because I think that from what I've heard, the course goes into a bit more detail about life in Switzerland, for example.
Yes.
And the citizenship test tests you on 4 different areas: politics, history, society, and religion, I think it is. And, you know, the society questions are things that you would probably pick up through living here. It's really about kind of celebrities and well-known people and sports and stuff like that. But history, for example, you know, that's not something that pops into day-to-day conversation so often.
Yeah. So obviously, I guess we can like give recommendations if to do that course or not, and if which books are helpful and which are not after you did the test, I think.
Yeah, I bought the entire range because I'm a swot like that.
Yeah.
But when we were at the bookshop, basically some you can order online and some you'll find just in your local bookshop, basically in Switzerland. And while we were there, I found a mini version of Der kleine Schweizermacher, the little Swiss maker.
Yeah.
And that kind of caught my attention. It has the different sections related to the test and
nice.
little quizzes to do.
Good, yeah.
So that seems quite nice. But we'll see how it goes.
So, next steps.
Yeah, the next steps really, I just need to read through this big pile of literature that I've got here, memorize the contents, fully understand every aspect of Swiss life, and then sign up for the course and see if I pass.
I mean, sign up for the test.
Sign up for the test, exactly.
And so, to sum it up, you went to the information day, then once it was 10 years, you called
the Office for Naturalisation.
Yeah. And they said, do you have this, 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 and this? And obviously, if you don't have one of these things, you would have organized it.
Exactly.
But you knew that already because you went to the information day.
Yep.
And then they call you in to check on you, what you said before. Like after the call, you went to them, to the place.
Yes, exactly. And you show them your documents that you have.
And then they write everything down and tell you exactly which is missing still. And then you already got the stamp, or you don't have it yet? You got the stamp. Although you don't have the Zivilstandesamt.
No, they're not connected. They're just different parts of the process.
Okay, so you got the stamp, and theoretically you can go at any time now to that test.
Exactly.
And once the test is done, what happens next?
Then
if you pass?
If I pass?
Yeah.
When I pass?
Well, what happens if you wouldn't pass?
You can take it again.
How many times? Forever.
Oh, I don't know, but I think you have a certain time limit before you have to go and maybe get your form restamped or something.
I see, yeah. So when you pass, what's the next step?
Then I contact the office again and tell them I've passed. Hopefully I'll have the documentation I need for the civil register by then as well. And then it's
everything.
Next stage.
Which is?
I'm not sure yet.
I think it's an interview, isn't it? A personal interview. Or is that not coming yet?
I don't know if that happens exactly then or if there's something else to do.
Okay, we will talk about that.
As the process unfolds, more and more things appear that you need to do.
Yeah, but that's not like endless, right? Usually. What would you expect within what time range will you become Swiss? What do you think? Do you know the usual?
I think they normally say somewhere between 1.5 and 3 years or something.
1 and 3 years.
1.5 and 3 years, something like that.
Yeah, okay. So a few episodes to go then, I guess.
Definitely, because we're only at the municipality level now.
Yeah.
After everything is solved there, then we go to the cantonal and then the federal level.
I see. So
money is required.
Money is required.
That's for sure.
Very nice.
But that's okay. I'm ready.
So that's the
long and short of it, yeah.
Yeah. And we will definitely talk about it once you did the test. Do you already know when roughly? You don't want to say any date yet. Then it's official, isn't it?
I don't know.
Yeah, it will be this year for sure.
Yeah, definitely
this
year. Yeah.
Okay. Great. So that's it, basically.
Yeah, we are on our way.
And then before we end, obviously there is always the official thing to say, or official. I think my recommendation is always to join us in our Facebook group, which is called Switzerland for English Speakers. Lots of nice people in there, lots of comments, people help each other. It's really nice. It's basically self-organizing, more or less. So we just try to keep the spam out and monitor it a little bit.
Keep the haters out.
Yeah, but it's really interesting questions, interesting discussions.
At the moment, there's loads of people sharing great ideas for things to do in Switzerland this summer, which is really nice.
So maybe one episode we can talk a little bit about that. And there is another exciting news, isn't there?
Yes, there is indeed. We are now famous in print.
Ooh!
Yes, we've been mentioned in a rather large way in a new book that came out a couple of months ago called The Expert Guide to Your Life in Switzerland.
Wow, that's quite surprising. We didn't know about that, did we?
We didn't know about it in advance, no. But Christian, who wrote to me after the book was published, told me that he'd mentioned our podcast in his section of the book.
Fantastic.
Basically a big guide that covers all of life in Switzerland, and various different people have written chapters about various different aspects of life here.
Cool.
And he wrote a section about social life and mentioned our podcast as a great way to get to know the country.
Awesome.
So thank you, and check it out.
Yeah, we'll put a link in our show notes so you can have a look.
Have a look.
Fantastic. So hope to
Speak
talk
to you
to
soon.
you within the next...
Speak to you soon. Hope you're
we
okay.
try not to, have such a long break again.
Yes, indeed.
Did I say that out loud? Probably.
I think so.
Anyway, let's end it here better before
Good.
things get worse. Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye.